Okay, in this problem we're asked to put x squared minus 6x in a particular form, and the form that they want us to use is right up here. Well, the way that we can get it in this form is by completing the square. So let's go ahead and look at completing the square. Now when you complete the square, what you're trying to do is to take this y equal x squared minus 6x, and you're trying to put it into a form where there's a perfect square binomial involved. So for here, for completing the square, what we do is the first part is we take half of the linear term. And when we say to take half of the linear term, we're talking about this value right here in front of the x to the first variable. So half of negative 6 is negative 3. So that's kind of where we'd start off with this process. So we take x squared minus 6x, and then half of negative 6 was a negative 3, so I'm going to say plus a negative 3 quantity squared. Now, I'm kind of running out of room here, but you also need, if you add a negative 3 quantity squared, you also have to subtract a negative 3 quantity squared in order to balance that, because these right here sum to 0. So coming back down here where we have a little bit more space, I'd have y equal x squared minus 6x, and then this negative 3 quantity squared means to take negative 3 times negative 3, which is a positive 9. And then I could also, from here, subtract 9. Now the idea, again, completing the square, comes back to here. Is there anything that we could do to factor x squared minus 6x plus 9? And the answer comes from right here with this negative 3. That factors into x minus 3, x minus 3. And then I've completed the square, because I can rewrite this as x minus 3 quantity squared minus 9. So now this fits that form, y equal a x minus h quantity squared plus k. Now in our case, a is an implied 1, and when we write it in the answer blank, I don't need to have the 1 there. I can just rewrite it as x minus h quantity squared, sorry, not x minus h, because we know what these values are now. We can just rewrite it as y equal x minus 3 quantity squared minus 9. So that's what can go in that blank. Now, the vertex of this parabola would be hk. It's the opposite of what appears here. So for our parabola, that would look like the opposite of what appears here is 3, and the actual value that appears here is negative 9. So if I were to graph this, I know this is a parabola opening up because I have a positive x squared value, and then I'd plot the point 3, negative 9. We'll say right down here this is a point 3, negative 9. It's a parabola opening up, and I need one other point where it crosses. Well, the easiest point to figure out where it crosses is to plug a 0 in. So if I plug a 0 in for x up here in my original again, I have 0 squared minus 6 times 0 is 0, so it goes to the origin. So this is another point on the graph, and here's the graph of my parabola. Now when you do this in my math lab, of course the parabola opens up, crosses through this point, but you'd want to plot the vertex point first at 3, negative 9. Hope this helps.